All my homies hate Resource Rumble, and today we're gonna break down why exactly I and others do not like this game mode. So, Marvel Rivals introduces new Resource Rumble game mode map for Season 3. So Season 3 is when this madness started. And what Resource Rumble is it's a game mode where players must unlock 3 resource points in a random order. And then if you get the first 2, you win the game. If it's like even, then there's a third point that opens up, and the points on that one go exponentially faster depending on how long you're on it. And you claim points through being in the zone. So it's a lot like domination, but the map is a lot bigger, and there's no like the cooldown when you have to be on it to actually claim it. It's just whoever's in the area gets the points, I suppose. Unless it's contested. Unless it's contested. So let's get into why people don't like this game mode, including me, and why everyone, at least I do, I leave this game mode whenever I load it up. And usually I get a 15-minute ban for that. So, first of all, the map. So, me personally, and I've seen others say it, they really don't like how big the map is. It takes a long time to get from point A to point B. There is one thing, there's like a speed boost at your spawn, which makes it a little faster to get there. But if you're playing a character without any mobility, you're going to take like 10 years to get to the point. Like, I swear 90% of this game mode is you walking to the point, and then 10% is you fighting another team. It sucks, you know. I'm not playing Walking Simulator. I'm trying to play Marvel Rivals. And the reason a lot of people don't like this game mode, you know, it's how big the map is, how long it takes to get to a certain point, and just the concept in general. A lot of people say it's domination but worse, and I do agree with that. You know, I think there's already a domination game mode. We don't need some twist to it. And honestly, if there are people who like this game mode, I don't think there's a problem with that. My main issue with Resource Rumble is that it isn't quick play. Resource Rumble should be its own LTM, its own limited time game mode, and it should be like a special game mode you go and choose. You know, when you go into Marvel Rivals, you're expecting to play either Domination or Convoy. You're not expecting to play Resource Rumble. And if you are expecting to do Resource Rumble, guess what? You can't guarantee you get a Resource Rumble every time you queue up quick play, because it's not its own game mode. So it would help out everybody if they made it its own game mode. For the people who like playing Resource Rumble, they can go and queue up a Resource Rumble match. And for the people who just want to play the base game, Domination, Convoy, they can go play quick play, which is what the game's always been before Season 3. I don't know about everyone else, but I feel like Marvel Rivals knows a lot of people don't like this game mode, because I feel like I queue in this game mode less than a third of the time. I queue in it less than a third of the time, I feel like. Now, maybe that's chance, maybe it's not. Let me know what you guys your queue rates for this game mode is, because I feel like I get in it less than a third of the time, and every time I queue it up, I leave immediately, and then I get banned for 15 minutes. Now, thank gosh this game mode isn't in comp, because that would be terrible. And that's another reason I think Marvel Rivals knows this isn't a popular game mode, because it's not in comp. And if it was in comp, you know, that'd be terrible. I don't know anyone who really likes this game mode. So yeah, that's the big reason, is it takes forever to get to the points. It's a massive map. And also, people just don't really like the map in general. It's another Clintar map. It's a running joke that Guang Guang loves Clintar maps for some reason. Oh, look, there's also Venom, you know. And those are the big 3. I'm not a big fan of this mode. And just the other day, I didn't queue into this mode once, but I queued in to do it twice in a row. So I got a 30-minute ban, which that is just lovely. That is just lovely. Here, let's see what other people have to say about this game mode. So this guy on Reddit, OKHedgehog6502, he said, it's stall till the last point. And that is something I didn't touch on, but that is something I'll talk about now. So a huge critic of not just this game mode, but Marvel Rivals as a whole, is how it's a stall-based game right now anyway, because they keep buffing supports and they're not buffing dive. So it's very difficult to go in the back line and kill a support. So it's all about sustainability and then ultimately using your ult to try to break through the line, which this makes for very boring gameplay and very long gameplay. You could be in a game for 30 minutes just brawling at the front line with tanks and then supports who are practically unkillable, depending on the comp, obviously. But this is what the game has becoming. You know, this is why 3 support comp is so disliked, and that's why the game has been falling off as of late, because of their buffs and nerfs to characters who do or do not need it. And touching on this game mode with that is, this game mode, it takes the worst aspect of the game and it amplifies it, because that's the whole mode. It's domination but worse, you know. It takes forever to get to the point, and then when you're there, you know, these games last forever. You know, it's like you're in purgatory, and that's why I just leave as soon as it starts, because it feels like it's just a huge stall match, you know. There's the supports in the back, and then there's the tanks in the front, and then there's the DPS doing whatever the hell they're doing, probably dying, because supports can 1v1 DPSs like it's like no sweat. So yeah, that's a huge dislike from OK Hedgehog of this mode. I do agree with it, and overall this is a huge con of the game, of how the game has really been becoming, because of the supports getting so much support, you know. Oh, this is what I touched on earlier. Traversing between points is obnoxious. It really is. If you're not playing a character with decent mobility like Luna, Snow, Venom, any character who can really move around somewhat fast, you know, if you're playing Adam Warlock, you know, the character who's supposed to be able to fly but can't, he's the one support without any mobility, any stun. You want to know what his one good grace is? He can heal himself pretty easily. But guess what? Invisible Woman got that too now, so who cares? Who plays Adam anymore? I guess he has good DPS output, but his ult's not even great. Anyways, I shouldn't be flaming Adam for no reason, but I'm saying if you're playing Adam and you're playing this game mode, you are going to be one of those people walking the whole game. You get to point, you likely will die, or you'll be in a stall match for 30 minutes. Do either of those sound fun to you? No, not to me. That's why people, when they load up this game, they don't want to play Resource Rumble. And then they don't want to sit around for 15 minutes because they got banned leaving. You know, that 15 minutes you're waiting, you probably save time waiting instead of playing this game mode because of how long it takes to finish. And then he says he thinks all 3 points should be active, or 2 at a time. You know, that makes a lot of sense. That would make this game mode a lot more strategic. To me, that sounds like a capture the point in like COD or something. And that actually does sound somewhat fun. You can strategize with your team, like, hey, let's go to A. I think they're going to go C. Or maybe you'll leave someone over at C. Because you can send like different troops, like 2 at C, 2 at B, 2 at A. You know, that gives you a little bit of strategy. So the game mode becomes a little more funner than, oh, everyone has to go to A. Okay, now this new point opens up. Everyone walk over to B. It takes 30 minutes to get over there, but you know, that makes it a lot more of a straight line gameplay and not as much strategy in it. And if you really want this to be more of a strategic game mode and not so much like domination, which it really is a lot like domination but worse, especially because the map is the main thing with the game mode that I hate. But this, even with a big map, I feel like this would make it significantly more fun. But still touching on my point, I still think this should be its own game mode. Because when you boot Marvel Rivals, you know, you want to play Domination or Convoy. And as I said earlier, if you want to play this, guess what? If it was its own game mode, it would have been way easier. So I'm going to give you guys a bit of a metaphor here. Now, hear me out, because it's going to sound a little stupid. All right. So let's say you're trying to boot up Fortnite, right? You're booting up Fortnite. And what do you want to do when you play Fortnite? Let's say you're trying to play the normal game. Not the zombie mode, not creative mode. You just want to play some solos by yourself. Okay, battle royale. You know, that's what Fortnite is. It's a battle royale, right? So you queue up for that. You know, you wait for the queue time, And guess what? Fortnite throws you into one of these goofy tycoons, one of these goofy clothing store tycoon, farm tycoon, and you leave, right? Because this is not what you want to play. You want to play Fortnite. You don't want to play this second game mode, this tycoon. You know, that's something in creative mode, you know? And you leave because you don't want to play it, right? Does Fortnite slap you on the wrist and give you a 15-minute ban? No, it does not. But guess what? Marvel Rivals does. And this is a direct comparison. This is the point I'm trying to make. If you're playing Marvel Rivals and the general expectation is you are going to play Convoy or Domination, and you get into this game mode you don't want to play, it's a waste of time. It's something that does not bring you enjoyment. And you leave, you get banned from Marvel Rivals. And then guess what? You go play comp and you're not warmed up, so you're likely going to lose and even have a worse time. In matchmaking, that is something Marvel Rivals struggles with, and I'm not going to talk about that right now, but that is another huge problem with it. Now, you could say this comparison is a little far-fetched, you know, because this is a drastic difference from the base game of Fortnite. Well, Resource Rumble is not a huge change, but it's something people don't enjoy. And I've seen so many people on TikTok, so many people on YouTube complain about this game mode, and we have not gotten a single change. Not a single response, not a single change. The dev team hasn't said anything. Yeah, you know, I've complained a lot. Let me know what you guys think. I know my comparison's a little stupid. You can complain about that if you want. But those are my thoughts on Resource Rumble. All right, thank you for watching. That's about it. See ya.